Thank you for waiting, everyone. And our next session is CZ Fireside Chat. Our guest panelist is CZ from Binance, and moderator is Benjamin Sira from CoinDesk.
Hello, everybody. Great to be here, and what a guest we have here. I mean, the one and only CZ. Thanks very much for being here.
Thanks for having me. I'm really honored to be here.
Great. So we're going to talk about crypto, the future, and everything in between. So how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. Still dealing with jet lag a little bit, but I'm really happy to be in Tokyo.
Great. I'm a little jet lagged too. I was from New York, but we'll get through this. So my first question was really about the Trump administration and how that's changed the outlook for crypto globally. I mean, you went away for a few months, you came out, and the world has seemed to change completely in terms of politicians adopting crypto, talking about crypto. How do you think about that, and what has changed most for you, do you think?
Sure, that's a very good first question to start. I think I've felt the change in the U.S. Administration attitude towards crypto really sharply. I was sitting in prison when Trump announced he was pro-crypto. That was in July 2024. So, and I was only in prison for 2 months for a month or so at that point. And I was like, well, here I'm sitting in prison, basically because, not basically because, but the previous administration was declared war on crypto, right? So, and now Trump was pro-crypto. And then shortly after that, the Democrats were pro-crypto as well, or at least they claim. So that was I was pretty shocked. And it was also kind of ironic that I was in prison and now the government's pro-crypto again. But I do want to say that it is a very good change for the industry and also for US as a whole. I think now this administration understands that while this technology is a bit disruptive, but it is a new technology, so it is much better to embrace the new technology so that you don't get left out. I mean, you can protect your status quo for a bit, short term by resisting it, but you're going to lose out in the long term. And this is a new technology for money, and this is a new technology for record keeping, and it's much better to embrace it. So I think this change is great for America. It's great for the United States. And then now it's also forcing the other countries to follow, which is also great for the industry. So I think we should always be embracing new technologies and change. We shouldn't be afraid of change. Right. So I think this, I actually didn't expect if you asked me like a year ago where we would be today, I would not be able to describe where we are today. And I think we're right now in a very great position.
Are there any particular aspects of what the administration has done that have been most impactful? I mean, we just passed the Genius Act, for instance, on stablecoins. Is that the main thing?
I mean, yeah, I think there's a lot of things going on, but if you look at the results, right? So within a few months, they passed 3 legislations, 3 new laws on stablecoins, etc. And not only that, and also it was kind of interesting to see the dynamic. While they're passing the Genius Act, they were also strongly anti-CBDCs, right? They specifically want to ban CBDCs.
That's a central bank digital currency.
Yeah, so that's really interesting to see. I would not have expected that a year ago. But it shows that there's a deep understanding there. And there's a lot more other discussions going on, I'm sure. But there are definitely clear, tangible results are showing. And then and it's good because then the rest of the countries in the world can follow. It's kind of good to see. Yeah.
Right. I mean, some people think that more stable coins means less CBDCs. Would you agree with that? I mean, China just came out with an announcement, I think, saying that they were interested in sponsoring stable coins to push the one globally.
Yeah, I think generally yes, but I think different people give stablecoin is a name, is a term, right? But different people define it differently, somewhat. There are stable coins, well, traditional stable coins that are just issued by a company, and they are relatively freely transactionable on the blockchain. China, it's also quite interesting to see China's attitude change. Previously, they were relatively strict about no crypto, etc. But now they are embracing it as well. Hong Kong is very forward leaning in this aspect, but also just mainland China, the banks are now talking about stable coins. So I think this, I think in my view, stable coins are better than CBDCs. They will get more adoption. They have more freedom baked into them. They will allow more transactions to happen. And they will, so there will be more adoption there. Where CBDCs today, we have seen zero adoption. Many countries tried CBDCs back in 2014, 2013 stage, but they have zero traction. So that's kind of what we're seeing now. Yeah.
Another big development, obviously, maybe while you were away as well, was the kind of growth of AI and kind of fascination with AI. And I think you've said recently that you wish that AI had come up before crypto had come up, because it would have been useful for the development of crypto. How do you see the kind of impact of AI on crypto in terms of the user experience?
Yeah, I think, well, I tweeted this before, but the currency for AI is going to be crypto. AI is not going to use the traditional paper money, the US dollars, not even the Japanese yen. They're not going to use credit cards. They're not going to be able to go through a bank, etc. Most banks are designed for a human. But blockchain, it's a programmable API, right? So you can just interface with the blockchain directly. So that's the most natural form of digital money that blockchain or AI is going to use. And AI is going to facilitate a lot more transactions. But they're going to have a lot more interactions, right? So each of us is going to have hundreds and thousands of AI agents working for us in the background. They'll be booking hotels for us. They'll be transacting between us. They'll be negotiating contracts, etc. AI can do a lot for us. So I think the economic activity will be 100 times more, or maybe even 1,000 times more. And then with that volume of transactions, many of them are microtransactions, I think. And then they will be done on crypto. So there will be basically 100 to 1,000 times more transactions pretty soon, in my opinion. Right. So I think AI is great for blockchain. But this is just on the usability side. I think AI eventually will have to use blockchain for data sovereignty, for data privacy, etc.
For verifying data.
Yes, for verifying data. So there's a lot of interplays between AI and blockchain, I think. I think AI is now getting quite a lot of hype because people see the potential usage of AI. It can be applied everywhere. Whereas blockchain industry was suppressed for a long time because people fear, the traditional financial systems fear it, so they've been suppressed for a while. So now we are seeing both being developed at a faster speed now. So I think it's great. Yeah.
Right. Someone said to me the other day that they thought that the majority of crypto transactions would be machine to machine, i.e., on AI rather than human to human. Do you agree with that?
I think so, yeah. It should be more machine to machine. I think people will automate to the point where it's the most efficient and most productive. I think humans are generally not very good at transacting in large amounts. Even today, even without AI, if you look at the high frequency traders that trade on a centralized exchange or even on DeFi, most of that is automated. Right, so I think people already are using AI very heavily in that trading field. But it's just different kind of AI from the large language models. But large language models are very good at analyzing a lot of data. So I think that people are definitely going to use AI, and most 90+% of the transactions should be done by automated way, and AI is going to get into that. Yeah.
Right. So you were CEO of Binance for 7 years, I think, and a co-founder. Do you miss it at all? Do you want to go back? Any plans for that?
Actually, when I first stepped down, there was a withdrawal period. But luckily, it was a very abrupt stop. So after a couple of weeks, you get used to it. And then I was thinking about what to do next, right? So it's actually kind of good to be able to step down. Because I think if I was not forced, If I do it voluntarily, there might be more complaints. Or people will say, this guy ran out of stamina, why did he give up, etc. But look, I have no choice, right? So I stepped down. Now I actually have a lot more free time. So I spend much more time helping other founders. So through Easy Labs, we invest in blockchain, AI, and biotech. And then I also spend quite a bit of time, I want to spend more on the free education platform that we're building. Giggle Academy has like 50,000 kids on it already within the last few months. So it's basically bigger than a university already in terms of number of students. But it's fun. It's a lot of fun. It makes me happy when I work on it. So and also I'm less busy than when I was a CEO. When I was a CEO, I was doing 20 calls a day. Now I have much less calls, and life is better. So
more work-life balance.
Yeah. Sorry?
Yeah. More work-life balance.
I never used that term. I don't think we should separate life from work. So there's no balance there. It's just both are part of your life.
Right.
Work is your life, and life is your work. But the schedule is much more manageable now. So things are pretty good. Yeah.
So you mentioned the education platform, Giggle, I think it's called. I mean, what attracts you to working on that as opposed to something more crypto?
Yeah, so after I stepped down, I thought about what do I want to do next, right? So that's when I was in the U.S. and still preparing for the court date and stuff like that. But the legal proceedings only take so long, right? So I can only spend however many hours with my lawyers, and then I still have a lot of free time. And then I thought, what should I do next, right? So I'm in a lucky position that I'm not very young, but I'm not super old, so I still have some energy to do stuff. So I thought about what's the most impactful stuff that I can be doing next, and it has to be something I can do as well. So I have to be able to do it. So what I'm good at is really building apps that can distribute to hopefully hundreds or billions of people. I think the most impactful thing I could be doing is basically providing education to people who don't have access to education. I think Binance blockchain, crypto provides access to financial access to people who doesn't have it. But I didn't want to do another crypto project. I didn't want to do another blockchain thing. And so I just look at the world, what can be the most impactful long term. And so I said, well, there's like basically 1.2 billion people without access to education today. And with the technology today, we have today with AI, gaming technologies, and internet, and also our understanding of human psychology, we can deliver better education through an app than through schools. And in the places I want to target, there are no schools. So, and I did some calculations. I thought, how much would it cost to digitize the entire 18 years of education? If you look at one course, like say grade 1 English, let's say it cost $1 million to fully digitize, gamify grade 1 English. And then 12 years is 12 million. And then 30 subjects is 300 million. So basically for $300 million, we can digitize all of the 18 years of education that we have. And that's roughly, I think, how much it will cost. I think it will cost less. Just to give you a comparison, the United States government spent $110 billion a year on education. And we're basically, for 0.3 billion, we can digitize everything. And then once you digitize it, delivery is basically free, right? So people download an app, they go. It will be very, very cheap. Whether you're teaching 10 million versus 100 million versus 1 billion people, it's the same, basically the same cost. The marginal cost is basically zero. I thought this will be the super high ROI project for me to do. And I want to give this platform away for free, right? So I want people to be able to access education for free. For me, it's not a money-driven thing. I'm happy to spend $300 million myself to build it. Even if it takes more, I'll do it. And it makes me happy. I feel good when I know that there's 50,000 kids on the platform and it's growing every day. We're providing free education to them. So it just makes me happier.
Did you call it Giggle after Google?
No. We choose, again, choosing names is always like which domain is available.
Right.
So, and then I'm a little bit superstitious when it comes to name choosing. I had to check with a Chinese zodiac, fortune telling website. So you have to. It's the combination of which domains are available and which this website says is good. This is more for a fun exercise. So Giggle Academy .com happens to be available. So that's how it came to be. Yeah.
Great. Yeah. And how do you get that out to people so they can view it and start using it?
Right now, it's available to download on App Store, Google Play. So it's also available on giggleacademy.com, the website. So that's pretty much it. We have done zero marketing, or other than I tweet about it. And it's growing organically, slowly. Like 50,000 is not a lot, but I do expect, I wanted to reach millions, hundreds of millions of people, hopefully billions. So, but it's actually kind of tricky because it's a free platform, there's no income, and it's also kind of hard to incentivize people to do certain actions. Like for example, on Binance.com, there's a referral program. If you refer somebody, you actually have some economic benefit. Right. Whereas with Giggle, I didn't want to launch a Giggle token. If I launch a token, I can put that incentive mechanism in place. But because it's a free platform, I didn't want to do that. But now we lack an incentive program for people to refer their friends, et cetera, et cetera. So, but I think we will just rely mainly on the goodwill of people. I think if a parent uses a good education platform, they're more likely to introduce that to their friends. So we'll see how that works. Yeah. Great.
Another thing you've been doing, I think, is advising governments around the world on crypto development, including Pakistan, I think. What drew you to that kind of work? Why is that important?
Yeah, so I actually formally or informally talked to about at least more than a dozen governments or head of states or influential people in different countries. I believe fundamentally, if you can, you have to, right? So if you can make a positive impact, then you have to. So you should choose the maximum positive impact that you can do. Luckily for me, many people want to talk to me, and they somehow think I know about crypto more than them. Yeah. So I'm in a lucky position to be able to do that. And I think I owe it to the industry to continue to advocate and also continue to help develop the crypto industry in different countries, especially regulatory frameworks when it comes to how to regulate the industry, centralized exchanges, stable coins, CBDCs, national national reserves for using crypto, etc. So they come to me for advice, and I'm always happy to give it. So I work kind of informally with a number of countries, and formally with Pakistan, with Kyrgyzstan, with a couple other countries that put me as an official name. But I also work behind the scenes, sort of much quieter with many people. So I'm always happy to share my advice. Many regulators or country heads, they're not crypto native, right? So they're still compared to me, they're still relatively new, and they don't know all the intricacies in the industry. So how to regulate crypto exchanges, what's good and what's bad, what are some of the issues, and luckily or unluckily, when I was running Binance, I've interacted with a lot of regulators around the world from the industry perspective, and also have a vested interest in seeing the industry grow. So there are a lot of really intricate details, interesting discussions that I'm learning about as well. For example, some countries have capital control, right? So in US, if you talk about money laundering, it's terrorists. In some other countries, when you move money out of the country, that's money laundering. Even that definition is different. So there's a lot of intricacies in different countries, etc. So I'm very fortunate to be in a position to be able to advise and help that, and I also learn a lot in that process. So I also am very close with the Abu Dhabi guys, the UAE guys as well. Bahrain is also another very forward-thinking country. So all of those countries are moving forward very quickly. So I'm very happy to be able to help them. Yeah.
I mean, some people say that Abu Dhabi is the next kind of hotspot for crypto.
Yes, I would say so. It's just UAE generally is just have very good leadership. I think it's a small country, right? So small countries with good leadership, they just progress so fast. So I think everything comes down to leadership. So this is maybe a controversial point. I've traveled the world. I've lived in different parts of the world. I've seen different type of governments. I've seen, democracy versus communists versus monarchies, etc. My view is it doesn't matter what the form of government it is. It still depends on the people. If you have good people in senior positions, the country will run well. If you have not so good people in senior positions, it will be a disaster. Right. So it still comes down to people. So I think right now, UAE and a few other countries have very good leadership. And usually you can also, I'm a little bit biased, obviously, but usually the countries who embrace crypto, embrace change, those are usually the good leaders. So I think good leaders will generally embrace change, and they know how to deal with it. They're not afraid of it, and they want to leverage for the positive effect. So I think we're seeing that in many countries around the world. Yeah.
You mentioned reserves, crypto reserves. The US is trying to put forward a Bitcoin reserve, and a number of people wanted to have like Cardano in there and a number of other sort of coins. What do you think about that? Is that a good idea? I mean, because some people say, well, crypto's not supposed to be about government buying crypto. It's supposed to be about individuals buying crypto. Yeah. So what do you think?
I think it's a good idea, like basically as a short answer. But the longer form is, number one, from the holders, in a decentralized world, there will be corporations, governments, larger entities participating, right? And even in crypto, no, there are large companies, there's small companies, there are large companies, and there's small groups and there are large groups. In a decentralized world, you cannot you shouldn't reject people from participating. If you're rejecting other people from participating in a decentralized world, your thinking is not decentralized, right? You're like the centralized entity that's rejecting people. So that's number one. Number two is the more people who hold Bitcoin or any other cryptocurrency, the better it is for all the other cryptocurrency holders. So even if you don't hold Bitcoin, let's say you hold, I don't know, Cardano or BNB, and somebody buys Ethereum, that's still good for you because there's more people in crypto now. They will make the industry bigger. So I think we should welcome anybody who's buying crypto, who's establishing a reserve.
Should we use taxpayer money to buy crypto?
That depends. That's up to the country. So that's a country-specific topic, and we need to look at how they're doing it, etc. Governments need to make their own decisions about what's the best for their country. Should they use taxpayer money or not? Should there be a vote or not? Should there be a senior executive decision? That's country-specific, but. For US is a very large country. My understanding is so far, they have not started actively buying yet. They're just not selling, which is a good first step anyway. So any Bitcoins they confiscate, they keep, which is great, which is very smart, I think. And now every other country, if they're smart, so if US is advanced enough in their thinking that US dollar is already like the most dominant currency by far in the world, right? So they are now embracing the new currency as well in the digital world. Every other country should really follow. And I think from my perspective, everybody who holds any crypto, financially we should just support that because that's good for you. And the more people who hold crypto, the more people who get into crypto, the better it is for the rest of us. It's really that simple, yeah. There are some ethos, in the crypto world that crypto should be used for the individuals, etc. And in the early days of crypto, there are some strong libertarians who are like somewhat anti-government, etc. I was never in that camp, and I think I'm not against libertarians either, but. I don't hold really extreme views. I think, look, we're in a decentralized open world. We should welcome everybody, including governments. We want to, and also for mass adoption, we need government support. If we really want to achieve, what we call mass adoption, we need to get everyone in, including governments, including large corporations, including traditional finance, everybody, yeah.
So another thing we've seen recently is a lot of Wall Street or mainstream finance or TradFi companies come into crypto, and one very popular storyline is around tokenization. I was wondering how you see that going in the future. We've started a lot with treasuries, US treasuries, and stable coins, obviously. What other categories of real-world assets or tokenization do you think we'll see in the future?
Yeah, so I think everybody we've been in this industry, right? So we're going to tokenize everything. Well, everything will be tokenized by somebody, and then everything will be traded, both on centralized exchanges, decentralized exchanges, traditional finance, the new Web3 finance. So that direction is clear. It's going to happen. It is happening. But it's just the speed and when and how it will happen, that's really, like, we don't know for sure. We're experimenting with. Yeah, sorry.
And when you say everything, I mean, do you mean this building or these people? Or?
Yeah, pretty much. Well, you can tokenize buildings, you can tokenize humans, you can tokenize yourself, you can tokenize your future income or not. There's so many different ways of, you can tokenize an aspect of yourself, and you can tokenize virtual idols, and you can tokenize a lot of different things. But there's a lot of difficulties in a lot of these new things, right? So right now we're looking at tokenizing of stable coins, which is backed by a traditional currency, tokenizing traditional assets, securities, etc., stocks, etc., bring them on-chain. Those are like more financial-driven products. If you tokenize a building, there are some really interesting difficulties. For example, a building, the price doesn't fluctuate as much. And then when the price doesn't fluctuate as much, there's not a whole lot of trading volume. Without trading volume, the order book becomes thin. And then you have even worse liquidity. So, so that's one aspect of a building. Let's say if you want to tokenize a commodity, like say oil, do you tokenize all the future oil that's underground? But that's basically you're spending your future generation's money, right, today. Which, is that good or not? Not too sure. There's some again, that's a situation-specific issue. Every country needs to decide for themselves. And then, but even if you tokenize it today, like, how do you verify the backing of it, etc.? People have tried to tokenize gold for, like, people have tried to issue gold stablecoins forever. I've probably seen like 1,000 different pictures on gold stablecoins in the last 10 years. And none of them have really taken off, right, in any big way. So like with gold, it's like, okay, so now you have this gold digital token, but how can we verify it that the gold is actually there? You can take a video, you can have a third-party consultant do an audit report, but the crypto people don't believe any of that, right? So we want to see it on the blockchain, but you can't put the actual gold on the blockchain. You can only put a tokenized version of it on the blockchain. So there's the physical verification of it, the part that's really tough. And then there's also the regulatory landscape, right? If you're tokenizing stocks, is that token security or is it not? People are like, trying to get around. People are trying to like sort of figure out ways to make that work. Also today, if you look at the tokenized stocks today, the price don't track real stocks, which is a problem. So that shows that the product doesn't really work. Because if the product works, if the tokenized stock is lower priced, than what is it today, people should buy the token and then redeem it for the real stock, and then they make the price difference, right? So that's arbitrage, that's free money. Yeah. But people obviously can't do that, otherwise the price will be in sync. So the products are not fluid. They're not really working in my definition of the product. So, and also the current versions of some of the tokenized stocks, they don't have dividends, which is different from stocks. So there are still a lot of issues today. So we're kind of at the beginning of this journey. So I think RWA has only been a word for like a year or two, so it's like a brand new word. So we're still, it usually takes a decade or more to establish industry. We're moving a bit faster now because of all the digital technology we have, but it still takes a long time to establish a sector. So I think we're just at the beginning of this, which shows a lot of promise, but we're still early, yeah.
Right. I wanted to ask you a more personal question about your, days as a founder, and maybe, probably lots of people here want to be founders themselves or in the early days themselves. Do you have any advice for younger entrepreneurs about how to deal with this environment, how to deal with stress, how to deal with all the hassles of regulators and people and everything?
Yeah, sure. I think number one, the most important advice I would give to founders is you got to do the right thing. So there's like a few different aspects to this. Number one, the most fundamental thing is you got to do the ethical thing. You cannot hurt people. You should be building value. So you should be building a product somebody uses. If somebody uses your product, then you're building some value. So that's number one. Number two is you should not do anything that's unethical. You should not never hurt anyone. There should never be any fraud. You shouldn't lie, etc. So all of those things are important. On top of that, you need to figure out what you're good at, right? So you need to find the intersection of what you're good at, what you're interested in, and what has value to other people. So if you can find that intersection, and then you most likely will be able to become passionate about what you do, because then what you do will make sense. And then if you find that, if you're really passionate about it, then you can survive a lot of hardship about entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is really, really hard. If you look at what I went through, that's just one example of it. I think if people wrote a novel, they cannot imagine what I went through, right? It's just too crazy. And then you have to persevere. There's so many challenges, and every industry goes through ups and downs. A few months, all the VCs want to invest in this sector, and then a crypto winter comes, no one wants to invest. Everyone says Bitcoin will be dead. This has been said like millions of times before. So you have to persevere through that, and you have to have you have to have your own understanding about the industry, the world, that you can sort of persevere. So through hardships, through winters, etc., you have to be able to say, look, I know where this is going. We're just going through a phase. Also in crypto, in the Web3 world, for people who are getting in, there's a lot of quick money. There's a lot of people chasing quick money. I recommend highly against that. So I recommend founders to build long-term products. That's where the real value is. That's also where the real money is. We've got a little kid in the audience.
That's the young founder you're talking about.
Yeah, it's a young crypto holder. So I encourage people to sort of find something they're really passionate about, and make sure that it has the right ethics, it has the right values, you're passionate about it, and just sort of persevere and keep building. At the same time, read as many books as possible. There's not enough entrepreneur books out there. And also, it's really hard because every new startup is different. There's no textbooks about, people try to teach startups, but it's not very systematic. We haven't really figured out how to do it well, systematically. Everyone just tries it on their own, and they usually fail 3, 5, 10 times before they hit the home run, which also happens to me, right? So it's just really hard. And it's also kind of a lonely journey, because if you're leading a company, there's not a whole lot of people you can talk to. And the other people who could give you advice, they're usually very busy with their own successful businesses. So it's a hard journey, but it's also extremely rewarding when you finally hit that thing that works.
Right. Yeah. And you mentioned books. Any books you'd recommend to people?
There's many. I have a dated list of 50 plus books. I'm revising that list, and there are some new books as well. So it's published. If you search CZ's recommended books, you'll find it. There's some, there's a whole lot of really good books. I'm also taking recommendations from other people about good new books that they read. Recently, in the last couple of months, I've been searching for good books. I've now came across a couple of good, really good books. So I'm looking for recommendations as well.
Great. So 2 minutes left. Any last thoughts? What are you most passionate about in the future? What are you looking forward to?
I think right now my mentality is I'm more of a for people who wants it. I'm more of a mentor coach. I'm a guy behind the supporting other founders. So I actually find that pretty interesting. I'm an introvert actually, so I don't really social mingle that much. I don't have a large contact list on my phone. But I like working with founders. So that's why Easy Labs investing in more of the early stage products, because we like to get founders when they're first starting. If you're a strong founder and you're passionate about Web3, you think that we can help you. For Easy Labs, we like to provide strategic value in addition to money investment. So we don't like to just write a check and forget about it. We like to invest in projects that we can help in a real way. If you're that kind of founder, please come and talk to us. Please, there's a form on Easy Labs. Please get in touch. So I'm very passionate about helping to build the ecosystem, the industry. I'm in a lucky spot now that I don't have to do all the hard work myself. So so I can chill a bit, and I would like to help others. And if people think that my help is of value, then I'm more than happy to do it. Yeah.
I'm sure they'll think that. Thank you very much, CZ.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah. Thank you, guys. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Susie and Benjamin, for your wonderful discussion. We are moving on to the photo session. Please look into camera, please. That's it for a group photo session. Once again, thank you very much to
Thank you,
Susie
guys.
and Benjamin. Round of applause to both of them. ありがとうございました。